Here's the thing. People feel like I'm the ops because they feel like I exposed my mother.
Can't focus on me. Baby, can you focus on me? Hands in the stove, how the faucet running, I keep looking at you.
Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to another video. So I'm just leaving the doctor's office and I wanted to talk to you guys about something. So I wanted to talk to y'all about, child, I have been having this on my mind for like a couple days, and I was like, I feel compelled to share with you guys. But first, let me put some lipstick on. First of all, it's like 8 in the morning, so I just rushed out of the house because I was the first one for my doctor's appointment, which is very unusual. So I'm probably gonna be asleep for the rest of the day. But I'm about to talk to y'all real quick before I hit up Chick-fil-A for breakfast. Okay. Put a little lipstick on because I feel real dry and I don't have my lip gloss. So let me go ahead and do that. But yeah. Anytime you got a chance to get cute to boost your mood, do what you do, okay? So I have been asking myself this question, and it wasn't until this weekend that I came to the realization. And I'm at peace with what is now. I want to share with my supporters and everybody who has been dealing with any type of struggle, but specifically the struggles that are similar to the ones that I've experienced, where you have dysfunctional relationships with your family, your parents, where you all of a sudden are chronically ill when you were healthy and happy and had no issues, no health issues, whatever the case may be, or you're just struggling financially or whatever the case may be. Let me just give you some words of wisdom, some words of encouragement. I got sick in October of 2020. I'm a registered nurse. I was working. I was putting my life on the line in the midst of COVID, at the height of COVID. I was able to get away with not getting COVID, and then I was exposed multiple times through several patients. Prior to getting COVID in 2020, we got shut down in March 2020, and I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I felt so uplifted. Around July 2020, I started having panic attacks back to back to back. And what I think had happened is that, one, it was my job. I was now seeing more patients that were coming home that had COVID, that were dying of COVID, that had family members were dying of COVID. Patients were telling me that, so-and-so died of COVID and they couldn't see their loved one. They had to die alone. I had new people who had family members that died alone, that type of thing. And I think it struck a nerve with me because in the beginning of COVID, what I was doing was, I was like, God, I want to try my very best to not get this disease. But if I get it, I want to be in the best health I could possibly be. So my husband and I, we were working out like crazy. We were working out. We were eating healthy. So I was like, if I get this thing, I'm going to be in tip-top shape to try to fight it off. But by August 2020, my mindset had switched to the fact that I was like, oh my God, Lord, if I get this, I'm going to be alone if I die. I can't hold my husband's hand. He can't hold my hand. The memories on both ends of my husband, me, my daughter, and if one of us, something had happened to one of us, like, it started to hit me deep. And I was like, why am I thinking like this? So I started having these panic attacks. I say all that to say, I'm just kind of giving y'all the backstory of like all the trauma that I have been experiencing since then up until now. So fast forward, I get sick. October 2020. Life has not been the same since. Y'all know my story. If you're new here, I'll link videos below so that you can catch up. All of a sudden, I get this disease that nobody knows about. There's no treatment for it. There's no medication for it. No doctor knows what to do. I've been dealing with that for the past 3.5 years. Here we are in 2024. Now I'm on an experimental drug, and my symptoms are pretty much still the same. I'm basically disabled. I have limitations. I know a lot of you guys watch my videos and was like, ain't nothing wrong with her. But I have a lot of videos showing you guys a day in the life of what my life really looks like. I show you guys the highlights of my life, because who wants to see the depression of somebody struggling with an illness 24 hours a day? And I was doing videos like that at first, but I decided I no longer wanted to do that anymore because it was making me more depressed. So I just wanted to switch and flip the script a little bit and show you guys the highlights of my life and how I'm overcoming living with this disease and all the traumas and challenges. So as a result of getting sick, now we're down to a one-income household because I can no longer work as a nurse. We have a daughter that's being homeschooled, that's about to go to college, etc., etc., etc. My mom offered for us to live with her. At first, I was like, no. Then a few months came by, and I was like, no, my mother has changed. I'm going to move with her. I talked about it with my husband. I prayed about it. My mother had been helping us out. She had been paying for these expensive treatments for my disease to try to help me get better. She had been bringing groceries over for us from food drives and things like that. It was just like, I was like, things are going to be great. It has to be. Aside from my mother, I thought that the world was going to change for the better. I don't know in what naive land I was living in, but I really thought, I was so happy, not happy that the pandemic happened, but I was so, what is the word I want to use? Like, my mind was so on God is changing the world and that people are going to be nicer to one another. I would sit on my couch and watch CNN all day as we are watching bodies in trucks in New York, dead bodies being stored there. People are dying by the dozens and hundreds every single day all around the world. We are experiencing something that we have never ever experienced before. There was no way that anybody could tell me different, that the world was going to be better. So I thought, living with my mom, I was like, there's no way. I'm her only child. I'm now sick. And I ain't got no money. My husband's taking care of our household. We are a two-income household, a true two-income household, willingly and happily a two-income household. And so let me take my mother up on that offer. I took her up on that offer, and it was the worst decision ever. The trauma in just thinking that I'm a good daughter, have always been a good daughter, have always had my mom's back. I was 8 years old fighting my aunts because they would talk about my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, sisters talk about each other, da-da-da-da-da, but I'm that little girl, and I was a respectful little girl, but with my aunts, y'all, I would run my mouth and be like, don't you talk about my mother, da-da-da-da-da, and they'd try to whoop me, and I'm like, whoop who? And I'm swinging. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have always had my mom's back. As feisty as I was at 8 years old is as feisty. I'm even more feisty now. You know what I'm saying? And so to be such an amazing daughter, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm an amazing daughter. You know what I'm saying? And to be that and to go through the darkest time of my life and have my mother do the things that she did. Again, if you're new here, I will link that video below as well so that you guys can get just a glimpse of the dysfunction that I've experienced with my mom throughout my lifetime. But to go through that, to just say those words, that hurt. It beyond hurts. That cuts deep. It's my mother. You know what I'm saying? To be in the darkest time of my life where I no longer even want to live and have my family on both sides, mother side and father side, not support me. Because here's the thing. I'm choosing my words carefully in this video because, not because I'm fearful, not because I care, but because my prayer has been to be better, to be a better human, to be a better individual, I've been praying that prayer for the past 7 to 10 years. That's a very vital part of this video. I've been praying this prayer for the past 7 to 10 years. God, please make me a better human being. What that meant, it meant a lot of things. It meant that I no longer wanted to gossip. I no longer wanted to drink. I no longer wanted to engage in behavior that didn't make me feel fulfilled. By no means am I an alcoholic or have ever been, but I just didn't like who I became when I drank. I have a very low tolerance, so it doesn't take much for me to get intoxicated. Not just those things. I no longer wanted to lie. I'm not saying that I was never going to do those things again. I wanted to intentionally be like, I don't want to do XYZ. I wanted to be around people that, okay, if they started gossiping, I was that person that was like, yeah, no, I'm not about to engage in this. Like, I wanted to be that person. I no longer wanted to be the person that was engaging in gossip of the family, gossip of anybody. You know, I got my own problems and I don't want to be out here talking about nobody, because for what? I was just praying this generic prayer. Let me also say, I'm not a bad human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am one of the most loyal human beings that has the biggest heart. The time that you will see me not being so great is when my heart is broken by the people that I love the most. And that happened to me at the darkest time of my life, when I didn't want to live anymore, after I got sick. I just thought people would show up for me. I guess I thought they would show up for me in a way that I showed up for them. But what I realized is that they aren't me. I wanted at least the bare minimum. And people would say, well, what's the bare minimum? Well, for the people I loved the most, that were in my circle, that was my day ones of my family, whether friends and family, I, at the expense of my own happiness and peace, would make it happen. I would be there for you in whatever way that I could be there for you. When I needed that, those people didn't show up for me. They revealed to me exactly who they were. With my dad's family, what I will say is that my dad's family has been very toxic my entire life. All I remember about my father's family was toxicity. So when they did what they did, I healed from that and I'm good. I can honestly say that. Honestly, in the beginning it hurt, but now I'm actually good because they're such a toxic family as a whole. And not everybody, but the majority. With my mother's family, I will honestly say that my expectations were higher. It wasn't until recently I was having a conversation with somebody and I was like, the last family function that I went to, I cried for 3 days straight because it was like a final goodbye. And let me just preface this by saying I am a Christian and I'm gonna do what God leads me to do. But I also realize, and this is confirmed in the Bible, that family is just not your blood relatives. You can create your own family as well. And God can bring people into your life. I just need people in my life that are going to fulfill me at this particular stage in my life, that I don't have to tell you or teach you how to love me. You know what I'm saying? Because I deserve that. I deserve to be loved a particular way. And just because you can't do it, I got to be at peace with that. No judgment, not being mad at you, not being malicious at you, and I'm not. And so I realized, I saw something this weekend and I was just like, wow. And it didn't hurt me. Like, I feel like I was so at peace with the fact that that could possibly have been my final goodbye. And here's the reason why I cried, because it was the first time that I had saw my mom in like 6 months. And we spoke, said hi, bye, and that was it. And you know, being around other family members, it was just an uncomfortable situation for me. Like, we had fun at the event, but it was not a situation in which, I gotta look at the time, child, I need to get my Chick-fil-A, but it wasn't a situation in which I felt fulfilled. It felt very different than any other function we had been to, and I didn't feel fulfilled when I left. I just felt like a piece of my heart was just like, damn, I ain't cool with my father's side of the family. I don't have no relationship with them. Now, what's happening with my mom's side of the family? Is it gonna be the same? I feel like it is. Like I said, I cried about it for 3 days straight. And then now I've made peace with it, where I really feel internally like, because I'm replaying so many things that were said in my mind, where people are tiptoeing around me. Because here's the thing, people feel like I'm the ops because they feel like I exposed my mother. We grew up in a family where you're not supposed to discuss what happened in your household. You're supposed to take that to your grave. And in my situation, I revealed some things about my trauma. My trauma. It's my trauma, and it's my story to tell between me and my mother. And I did it with the intentions in my heart. I did it not to expose my mother in any way, shape, or form. It was to help other women that have dysfunctional relationships with their mothers, because I have been following women like this on social media for several years prior to me getting sick, and I did not have the guts to say anything. I protected my mother and her reputation because I was still under her little spell. I say that to say, people feel like I'm the ops, you know what I'm saying? And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. They feel like, you know, people feel like they can't say stuff around me. They can't talk around me because I'm gonna reveal everything that everybody did that they did bad to me. That's not the case. People do bad stuff to people all the time. That's not the case. I'm not on this rampage to destroy people or expose people, etc., etc. I say stuff to let y'all know the level of trauma that we go through. I'm not the only one going through this type of trauma. People going through worse stuff than me. I'm just letting y'all know that there have been some screwed up things that have happened in my life. Beyond screwed up. I want to say effed up. I want to say the word. You know what I'm saying? But there have been some really malicious things done to me. Me, a good person, a good human being who has been there for so many people, you know, at the expense of my own happiness, at the expense of, you know, neglecting my household. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't even get $1 from family members when I put a GoFundMe up. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick. I couldn't even get a visit from people consistently. I'm talking about showing up for me consistently. Because people think because they call you or text you every now and then that that's showing up for you. That's not showing up. That's not showing up. You know, and I get that people have their own issues. I'm not negating that fact. When you're there for the people you love, you make sure you're there for them. You make sure you show up for them. In whatever way that may be. It don't have to be financially. There's so many ways that you can show up for the people that you love, but you just do it because that's the person you are. So for me to have to constantly tell people, because it wasn't like, I'm not being unfair in that, oh, these people didn't know how to show up for me. I tried to teach people how to show up for me. I tried to let them know and teach. You know, I learned things about myself. And when I learn things about myself and you know better and you do better, I try to take that and teach my family, because we all grew up in traumatic and toxic environments. So, you know, when I was first introduced to therapy, y'all need to get therapy. Y'all should do it. You should try it if you're going through XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Because it could change your life. So I didn't mind discussing what I discussed with my therapist, stuff that therapists can't even discuss with nobody. Doctor-patient privilege. I didn't have no problems discussing those very vulnerable moments with other people because I wanted people to understand that I was going through the worst of the worst. I was thinking the worst of the worst, and I had to seek help for it. So I want you to do better. I want you to be better. I don't want you to have to go through that. Again, I say all that to say, without that pain, I wouldn't be where I am today. God had to allow me, this is how I look at it now. God had to allow me to go through such a painful experience of becoming ill, having a dysfunctional relationship with my mother, having the lack of support of family, being isolated or not having a relationship with my father's side or my mother's side of the family, having nowhere to go to live, having no one offer me any place to live outside of my husband's side of the family, having no money, not actually zero money, but having not enough money to get our own place at the time. Dealing with all of that, having my daughter almost die twice in the midst of all of this, literally on her deathbed twice in the past 2 years. I had to go through all of that to reach this level of peace. God is pouring down his blessings in abundance on me, Trinity, and Brandon. My husband, daughter, and I are on such a prosperous trajectory right now that I'm in amazement at what God is doing. And I say this message to you all is that when you're crying and you're thinking about, I don't want to be here no more, still say your prayers, even if you don't mean them. Still read your word. Still read the Bible. Read your daily devotion. Post notes around your room to remind you whose you are. Don't ever, God is never going to give up on you, but he knows we're going to give up on him sometimes. He knows we're going to be hopeless sometimes. He knows that we're going to sin and not do the things that he wants us to do. He knows that. But I prayed that prayer that I told y'all about, that I wanted to be a better human being. And because of all those very dark things that happened to me, I am kind. I want to be a giver. I didn't know what it was. Yes, I was giving and I was very supportive. I was giving in that way, in that I was supportive. But the way that absolute strangers showed up for me and my family and our GoFundMe, with the exception of a few family members. Matter of fact, I don't think there were any family members that gave on our GoFundMe, to be quite honest. I don't think so. But there were mostly strangers that showed up for us. I have created this community and this platform on Instagram well before I became sick, well before I became sick, and well before the pandemic, just as I was healing through my dad's death. And so I have found yoga, I found meditation, and I started promoting mental health in the Black community and the importance of it. And I created this community and this platform, and those people showed up for me in a huge way. I cried and cried and cried after I put that GoFundMe up, y'all, because I just couldn't believe there were still good people out there that were still willing to give to people that they didn't even know. And I had people that I knew that could actually give, and they didn't. And then, just like that, 6 months ago, God blessed us. When I tell y'all, we live in a household right now with another family. That's our family on my husband's side. When I say every single day for the past 6 months, y'all, we laugh, we have fun, we play games. It's a safe haven. I could never thank them enough. I can never thank them enough, and how easy it was for them to allow us to come to their house and live in their basement. When I say we are at peace, y'all, we have been thriving, and how God is blessing us in a huge way. Not just our residents, not just our mental health, but now financially. And I just want to be able to give back to somebody else that's in need for the rest of my life. I want to go out and seek people out that are in need in some way, so that my life, because I feel like I lost my purpose because I no longer am practicing as a registered nurse. I was able to fulfill part of my purpose on this earth by being a nurse. You know, I met great people in my job, and I was able to help them. I was able to speak to them, to speak life into them, to speak the word to them, while I was also doing my job. So I feel like I lost a part of my purpose. And so now I told my husband and my daughter that, and they were like, but you talk about mental health all the time to people. You are so vulnerable in the stuff that you speak about. That is your purpose, mommy. So for my daughter to say that to me, I was like, I need to continue to do that on my platforms, hence why I'm making this video. So if this video has helped you or touched you in any way, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And I hope that my words and my vulnerability will help you to grow closer to God, more importantly than anything. More importantly than anything. I'm telling you, I had lost all my hope and faith. And as soon as I said that and I said, God, I don't want to, I felt like the worst person on earth, because I was like, how am I losing my faith? And God switched it up, and he showed me that you better not ever lose your faith in me again, because you know only I could do this. And so I caution you and I encourage you to continue to read your word, even when you don't want to, even when you don't understand the Bible. Read a daily devotion. Daily devotions are sometimes more easier to understand, and they can uplift you. Although I have these disconnects and toxicity with my family, I'm not against reconciling. It is my family. But I also have the discernment to know that I'm not going to have stupid conversations or unnecessary conversations that are going to drain my energy, because they're people that don't have the intellectual abilities to understand what healing looks like. But I'm not against my family. I don't dislike my family. I love my family. I love my previous friends that I no longer have relationships with, for the exact same reasons I no longer have relationships with my real family, my DNA family, you know. Is that because God has me on a different path right now. And on that path, I can't allow people to get in the way of that are going to trigger me to do things that I don't want to do. I'm grateful for the darkness. I'm grateful for the pain. I'm grateful for the neglect. I'm grateful for the lack of support. I'm grateful for it all, because it made me who I am right now. So if you like this video, if you want to see more videos like this, I don't care if you want to see them or not, to be quite honest, because if I feel led to be able to try to help somebody, even if it's one person, I'm gonna make the video. And so thank you guys for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next vlog.
God wants to be able to, through your life, boast about his power and his strength. He wants people to be able to look at you and know that there's a God that lives in you and through you. You know what God is after? He's after people looking at your life and seeing that the only way you could have made it, the only way you could do what you do, the only way that you can achieve what you're achieving is because of God that is greater than you. And I'm here to tell somebody here today, I don't care where you are, what you're going through, when you get to the end of the story, God's going to use your life to give him the glory. As a matter of fact, the devil thought he could put you through hell and you would choose to curse God and die. But instead, you've made a decision that no matter what you're going through, you're going to give God the glory.